So I really like your song. Like the whole vibe of it is really cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm like, there's this Bob Dylan quote about like it's something about like taming a song is like taming a wild bull or something. And I feel like I'm like not even on the bull yet. I'm just like staring it down.
It's
Uh,
less about what you want to do with the song and more about what the song wants to do with you, right?
yeah, that is, oh man. Yeah. So tell me about, I had posted that thing and you were like, I learned this technique about kind of digging into the heart of the matter.
Yeah, it's a psychoanalytic tool
What? Cool.
that, well, it's just some shit my therapist gave me to do.
Oh, you're in
But that's
therapy
a
too.
fancy, yeah, that's a fancy way of saying it. So I've been studying with a Jungian analyst.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm full of stuff.
Oh, that makes sense.
For like almost 20 years,
Dang.
weekly. So
Yeah.
I should be way better adjusted than I am, but at least I have some tools. And
Yeah.
so this one, she tried to convince me to do this for years.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't until about like probably about a year ago that I started doing it. It started actually like really being like, okay, I have no alternative. Like I was suffering so much that
Yeah.
not that it requires suffering, but that for me, like I have to really hit bottom to find the strength to like push back up. So
Yeah.
here's the trick. I you have done some level of self exploration, probably
Yeah.
pretty deep, um, and so you might be familiar with the complexes that make up your ecosystem, right? So for me,
I
I
know I
have
have an ecosystem. Um,
I had a friend who asked me if I could have a puppet for each one of them so that he would know who he was talking, like who am I working with?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Sorry, this is going to be a tangent. We just watched, Polly and I just watched the Mr. Rogers documentary last night, and it's amazing. Like, oh my God. And when
Yeah.
you say puppets and you're talking about, I'm like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yes.
He was
Okay.
such a beautiful example of this. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, man. Oh, and then at the end, like I kind of didn't, I think we were probably too young to really understand the context and
Oh yeah.
what he was asked to represent
Yeah.
was, wow, so heavy. Yeah, that's a great documentary.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Sorry. Puppets,
yeah. But
ecosystem.
for me, the really really clear ones are like I have a little girl
Hmm.
who's about 5 to 10, like bullheaded and really sort of like queen of the world, kind of like everything was pretty much going my way, and I'm a very much like a daddy pleaser. That's
Yeah.
one of the complexes. Another complex
Hmm.
is my sort of adolescent self.
Hmm.
And she's really mad. She's really mad most of the time. She
Mm.
starts off really mad, at least.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck the world.
Yeah.
So then there's the drill sergeant, who
Yeah.
is very, drill sergeant. Those are my three big ones.
Yeah.
And so I've isolated them, or come to understand them that way over the years,
Uh-huh.
and kind of isolated them into, I mean, I can tell now where, who's doing the, like, is it my adult ego or is it one of these complexes? So the complexes
Wow.
tend to balloon and like so big until you actually like look at them and name them and go, actually, you know what, this, I see what you're dealing with, but really it's not this big. It's like this big and it goes over here.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can start to see your landscape a little bit more from that centered adult ego, as opposed to the balloons of complexes that are just really trying to get your attention because they're a part of you that is trying to protect you, trying to protect themselves, trying to, you know, so
yeah.
This may sound a little bit crazy or schizophrenic, but I just kind of like the exercise is that usually in the morning, but certainly before a show. Oh my God, if I don't dialogue with that inner child before my show, it's like that has revolutionized my whole performance, like,
wow,
paradigm, because I don't go into shows letting her run the show.
Yeah.
And then to go blank when I step on stage, it's all subconscious material.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if I have dialogued with this particular part of me that I know usually takes over at show, then then it's not the needy little girl performing on stage for you. It is a whole person, and that's just a part of me, but I'm not needing anything from you as an audience member. I'm actually just, I'm having trouble describing it, but it can be really powerful. And that way I've found an application. So I'll just keep using that as an example.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense to me.
The day of a performance, I will take so here's my journal, and I'll take it and I turn it upside down. Let me find one. Okay. So here's one. I turn it upside down.
Whoa. Okay.
And I like to use other colors.
Yeah.
Okay. So I turn it upside down, and then I just say, hi, Annie is her name, the little one. Hi, Annie. I'd love to talk with you this morning. She says, hi, okay, we can talk. I'm here. And I ask her how old she is. And she says, I'm 7, third grade. And I say, what do you want to talk about? And she says, I'd like to know how you're doing. Or I say, or my ego or whatever. I'd like to know how you're doing. How are you feeling? Oh, she says, what do you want to talk about? How you're feeling. I'd like to know how you're doing. What are you feeling?
Yeah.
Anything you want me to know? And she says, okay, well, I guess I'm doing fine. I'm feeling okay. I don't really know what I want you to know. Let me think. I'm playing music in the studio. That has been really fun. Oh my God, she's all about having fun, by the way. She does not want to worry about shit. If I can take the shit off of her plate, she's like ready for fun.
Oh my gosh.
It's too hot up there though, but it's worth it. I mean, it's not too hot that we shouldn't keep doing it. It's okay. I guess for tonight, I'm pretty nervous because I want everyone to like me. This must have been like before. I wanted to go extra well, and for Paula Scher to think I'm great. I met one of my heroes, Paula Scher.
Oh my gosh.
She's an amazing graphic designer, and I wanted her to love me. I want Paula Scher to think I'm great, and I guess we should learn more about her and see if there are any tie-ins to her work or celebration type songs we can sing for her. Does she speak French? We could do blah, 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 blah. So she's kind of like thinking through.
This is so good.
I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed because I know there are other things too, but can you handle them? I don't want to. My head hurts.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, okay, I hear you. So also I have it. So my therapist says to spend no more than 10 minutes with these really sort of deep unconscious or subconscious personas.
Yeah.
So once you have this dialogue where you say, I'm here to listen to you. I really want to know what's going on with you. What do you want me to know today? And then you just sort of let the pen go. Just let it come through you. And it's going to be some weird, there's we or I, or there's just all sorts of stuff that just let it go.
Yeah.
Don't try not to think about it. Just let it go. And whether it sounds like a 7-year-old, sometimes it'll sound like a 7-year-old, but sometimes it'll be a 7-year-old's thought process, but with your words, your adult words. And who knows, like it might be different for you. So I'm just speaking from my experience. So then, so you do the back and forth, allow that part of you to really kind of let go.
Yeah.
Say thank you for sharing. Like that's really important that you reaffirm to that part of yourself that even though this may feel weird, I mean, I spent a lot of the first part being like, I feel like a crazy person. This is insane. This is stupid. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
But then you really start to get down to things that you can address. So after like set a timer for 10 minutes and say, hey, we're going to do this for 10 minutes. Just write everything down. You're dialoguing with yourself. Yeah. Nobody's ever going to see this unless you share it on some sort of recorded video.
You're so brave, by the way. This is awesome.
Then I go and make tea. That's my thing. So I say to her, blah, blah, blah. She says, you know, what are you going to do about these things? I don't want to handle them. My head hurts. Don't make me do things by myself. I say, okay, I hear you. Before I make us tea, is there anything else on your mind? And she says, well, I guess we're giving up on Dad. And I feel a little sad about that, but also a little relieved because we can just do what we want now without trying to make him happy. He was snagging our sweater back to a place that kind of sucks, pulling at the fabric of things in an unhealthy, unhelpful way. I still want everything to be okay, but I'm starting to understand that being honest and being myself is really important and that I deserve to be loved for who I am. So I guess it's going to be okay, even though it's hard. Will you write, my mom, thank you note today? That would help me feel better too. It's just a courtesy, but it's important because I want to do the right things and be polite and loving and as normal as possible. They don't have to be as close to us as we were or thought we were, but they are a part of our lives, like neighbors. And so I say, I understand, thank you. Now I'm going to make tea. And she says, yay, okay, I'll be here. Right, so then I take a pause. I go make tea.
Yeah.
I come back. I reread what I've written. Which is sometimes very surprising because I haven't really been there. So I'm almost reading for the first time and I underline what I want to address.
Whoa. Okay.
So the things are, I like playing music in the studio. Tonight I'm pretty nervous because I want everyone to like me.
Yeah.
You know, starting to feel overwhelmed. I know there are other things, but can you handle them?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing, you know, so then I go back when I've had a little break, I go back and for about 10 minutes, I address each of my concerns from a centered adult. Like, so I've taken a moment to sort of dissect them and see that really the thing that I'm dealing with my dad is the same thing that I'm dealing with the show tonight. I want them to like me, right? Yeah. I want to know that what I have to offer is good enough and that I'm worth being loved. Yeah. So I actually, from my experience with my dad, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But from my experience with me, I can reassure myself that I am important to me.
Yeah.
I do love myself. You know, like I don't need his approval anymore because I have my approval and I am going to take care of you, me, us. Right? So this part of me doesn't need to go on stage tonight and believe that my entire existence depends on the acceptance from Paula Scher or my dad or anyone.
Yeah.
Right? So I can actually bring a whole like a wise performance. So.
Wow. And you're literally reassuring that love of yourself, like from yourself. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something that I have not done a dialogue really with my inner child. But there was something that we did in therapy where, you know, some like painful stuff was coming up and she stopped me and she was like, hey, so where are you feeling this? And I was like,
Mm.
in my stomach and in my throat. And she said, just put a hand on your stomach and you put a hand on your throat. And like just doing that now, like makes me want to cry a little bit, because it's like I'm holding my child, and that
Yeah.
like opened the door to like, okay, there's something here to be explored. But I haven't done a whole lot more than that, and this sounds amazing. Um,
It can be really subtle, but it can be really powerful in your journey to consciousness, greater consciousness all the time. And then it's a cycle. I mean, I don't, well, now
yeah,
I always do
yeah,
this, but I still get really imbalanced sometimes. And I know when I need to check in again. That's
uh-huh,
another thing that she said, is that when you make a promise, when you make a date with yourself
uh-huh,
to do this,
yeah.
do not let yourself down.
Oh my God, this is just like parenting 101.
It's absolutely being a good mother and a good father to yourself
Yeah,
on paper,
yeah,
so you can see it
yeah.
and make
Whoa.
the, it's almost, and I also, I write down my dreams in the morning so that I can analyze them later.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe like sometimes the analysis is pretty clear, but most of the time I can kind of see waves of the dreams and waves of the complex material,
Yeah,
sort of how they intersect. And then and then you're almost giving Psyche more things to hang ideas on, more images
yeah,
to work with.
yeah. Man, I feel like we're about to jump into like a 4-hour conversation. And unfortunately, I don't have 4 hours.
10
But
minutes.
I want to. So my my mother-in-law is a Jungian, like she does dream work and like theological reflection. So I'm used to the Jungian language and the archetypes and like the power of seeing dreams, as like the characters and the monsters and all these things in dreams is like part of me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so, okay, so I'm curious, how do you, before, let's not get into dream analysis because that, I want to do that, but like, let's not do that yet. How do you relate this, or in your experience, how does this kind of relate to songwriting, this journaling technique with your inner child?
Uh, I I think probably just letting the song have its way with you.
Okay.
That kind of idea where you just release the pen,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that there's a safe place there. That it doesn't have to be perfect. That it indeed perfection is just an empty chasm of sorrow. It's like there's no there,
Yeah.
and yet
Yeah. Well,
I won't let go of that
yeah.
barrage.
I mean, what you said right at the very beginning is, the you don't make the song makes you. I feel like that's where I get stuck a lot, is when I'm trying to make this happen and then it sounds preachy and it's like, whoa, I've lost my way. And like I want it to be important and meaningful, and then that's like when it gets even worse. It's like, so yeah.
If you can think a little bit more, the thing that I loved about what you shared in the lyrics and the explanation and the music itself was that really, I think if you can isolate the part of you that needs to hear that message and then speak to it, speak
Mm-hmm.
to that part of you,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll get the most out of it. Because really it's not a song for, it doesn't have to be for anybody else, but if it can heal a little part of you, if playing it and
Yeah.
writing it can be healing for you or comforting, or like,
Yeah.
then you have won the world, right? Like there's nothing better than writing your own prescription because
Yeah.
nobody else knows exactly what that feels like. And without even trying, you'll tap into something universal. If you can make it specific to yourself, then
Yeah.
that's really where that can be really powerful in your life, I think.
Yeah.
And not to be afraid of it, because it might feel weird. I mean, it might feel like, that's the thing though. You wouldn't preach to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the drill sergeant in me would
Oh, yeah.
absolutely preach to
Yeah.
me, but that's not really that's not the part of you you're talking to right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
Man.
like with your son, like you would use appropriate language, and you would use appropriate, like, how do you explain the unexplainable to your son?
Uh-huh.
Just
Yeah.
break it down.
Yeah. Oh man. This is good. I this is will take some courage to dive in more.
Well, and practice. It's a practice.
Yeah, it is a practice. It is a practice. And that will grow in strength as I practice it. Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm somewhat, I'm like, therapy kind of work, self work is kind of like 2 years in. And I am really great at feeling the happy feelings, and like, and really not good at feeling disgust, anger, disappointment, any of those. I'm like, I've run for the hills. But I have to get in touch with that stuff if I'm going to write.
I think you may find that they are not as big and scary when you really look at them.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is like a mirage. It's like once you really focus in, it's like, oh, that's actually, there's not really anything there. It's just, it just seemed so big because you wouldn't look right at it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes another tool in your arsenal that you know that you can deploy in appropriate situations. Like, anybody who's never angry, that's got to be buried somewhere. Like, we've all got a little bitch in us. And the reason it's scary is because we shove it down, and because we want to be good, or whatever your things are. And then it will find its way out. What was it that St. Thomas said about like the things that you refuse to admit will come back and bite you in the ass, basically?
Yeah.
That is not
or what
direct quote from the gospel, but
or what Yoda said is, someone just quoted this to me a couple days ago. You only have to deal with what you bring, or something like that. Like, you only have to face what you bring with you.
Interesting. But you do have to face what you bring with you.
Yeah, like, that's the thing.
That's like the biggest and the smallest thing.
I know, yeah, exactly. It's one of those
really
lovely
and
paradoxes.
the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, this is good. Well, if you're okay with me kind of sharing this with our intimate little group.
Yeah, as long as it's in that private group, I feel really safe there, and people can use it if they want. If they can.
I mean, I think this is there's so much vulnerability happening in the group, which is so cool and like freeing. And I think we're just kind of digging into the potential of like being in a safe place.
Absolutely.
And so that I want to encourage like safety and exploring kind of deeper stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you for
creating that space.
Hey, I'm all about it.
I actually even wrote a happy song.
You did?
It never happens. I started a love song. Like,
what?
Really weird. A really weird experience. But very much like, it's interesting. It's kind of the same practice, because I haven't been perfect, but I'm doing most days,
Yeah.
and I'm not beating myself up about it, which is, drill sergeant
Yeah.
is under control. Um, and I'm digging up things that I otherwise would have brushed aside and not ever thought about or not ever used, or not for whatever reason, because I don't write love songs or I don't write happy songs. I'm actually a really melancholy loner person
Yeah.
most of the time. That story I've been like, oh my God, like, it's helping me really pick apart that story that I tell myself, that
Awesome.
I am like this, or that I don't write that, or
Yeah.
whatever. And seeing other people explore, seeing their different processes has been really, really encouraging.
Yeah. Oh man.
Thanks for setting it all up.
So true. Absolutely. Well, I will see you at the chat coming up
Yes,
this weekend.
definitely. And let me know if you get into this and have any questions.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be happy to see if I can lend a hand.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
encouragement, at least.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Erin.
Jill.
And I will see you out there.
Hugs to the baby.
All right. Definitely. Bye-bye.
Bye.